listening to the LOZ Podcast Network.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the LOZ Podcast Network. My name is Ken Lawler. I am the developer of the LOZ app and the LOZ app Podcast Network, and we are doing some fun things this fall. We are actually simulcasting, so you are either hearing this live on KRMS radio on Saturday mornings from 10 to 11, or you're watching this in the LOZ app podcast. So you get two ways to enjoy it. And, look, we love to talk to people at the lake. We love to talk to people in different businesses. This gentleman, Chris Wilson, hello. How are you doing today, sir?
How are you doing, Ken? Thanks for having me.
So Chris and I are, we're buddies at the lake, but we also work on the shootout board together. We also do a bunch of other stuff at the lake. And Chris, you're pretty involved with all kinds of things going on. I know you're in Kansas City right now because Chris has a little company up there called Van Cadillac, Van Subaru, Van. What are all the van brands up there?
Yeah, so we have Chevrolet, Cadillac, and Subaru.
All right, so you stay pretty busy up there, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, totally. Have about 131 associates, two different buildings. So Cadillac and Chevrolet are kind of housed in the same building, and then Subaru is separate on the same contiguous asphalt. Let's call it that.
And but you still find time to get to the lake. I see you at the lake quite often. So. You've kind of become really, I know you were into boating before you got into the shootout stuff, but, how did you introduce yourself to the boating world down here?
Well, yeah. Hey, that's a good question. My late father, first introduced me to boating when I was really young. We were fortunate enough to, have a, small place in the Florida Keys. And so that's kind of where I cut my teeth on that. And then when we made our way to the lake, as you stated, I'd been around boats before, didn't quite understand what the boating was like at Lake of the Ozarks and the sort of different types of boating styles you could do there. And so then it was really kind of a determining factor, kind of what was kind of going to fit to the family. And obviously that's changed over the last couple of years, and so we've had four boats now in 4 years. So how about that?
So you're all in. And I know that I see you have a Go Fast boat. What tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So, hey, I think my wife was the first one to say we will never have a Go Fast boat. And then we got the opportunity to ride with Performance Boat Center. Brett Manier took us out on the boat one time. And at that time I was hooked. And then Carrie was like, hey, I think I could wrap my head around this a little bit. So we ended up buying a Mystic C3800 Cat, and it's powered by twin 400 racing engine, Mercury racing engines. And it was actually Slug Hefner's first pleasure cat. Now Slug's been a customer of Mystic, had plenty of boats, had skaters, et cetera, but this was his first pleasure cat that he kind of wanted to ride around the lake and whatnot. So that made its way after he sold it to an owner out of Cape Coral, Florida. And then I was the one that ended up with the boat, the third owner. So that's kind of how that went down. So yeah, we're lucky we have that boat, and then we have a cruiser.
And, the fun part about being at the Lake of the Ozarks is, you can find different ways to boat, right? I mean, you can do the Go Fast thing, you can do the cruiser thing, and people can go out. I mean, look, I got a Tri-Tune. I buzz around in my Tri-Tune and take advantage of the lake and all the stuff that's going on. And that's what I think is so cool about Lake of the Ozarks, right? Because everybody gets to use the lake the way they want to, whether you're a fisherman, whether you're a Go Fast boat, whether you're a cruiser. And the great part that I think is, you can go to one of these local bars on the water and you'll see a guy in a bass boat sitting next to a guy in a cruiser, sitting next to a guy in a Go Fast boat. They're all enjoying themselves. They're all enjoying a drink together. And everybody gets to do their own thing, right?
Yeah. I think this season in particular, I paid a little bit more attention to what was on the water in kind of the different boating seasons, the spring, the summer, and now fall. And you're exactly right. Whether you're into water sports, wake surfing, tubing, even using, jet skis, et cetera, or whether you're a bass fisherman. I mean, like you said, pontoons, tri-tunes. I think that the body of water, because it's so it's so diverse, right? There's so many different places to be able to take a boat, really provides any boater an opportunity to be on this lake at any time, right? I think that the thought process, well, you can't boat on Fridays and Saturdays because the lake is condensed with cruisers and big boats. But, hey, we forget that the lake runs 90 miles and you can find yourself a little bit north in the 40s and it's like glass up there and you can run any boat that you want up there. So I think it's great. And you're right. It doesn't matter what boat you have. It doesn't matter if you have a little John boat where you've got some sort of a 60-foot azimuth. I mean, having everybody around and being able to go to a place and have, cocktails or hors d'oeuvres or just hang out. What difference does it make? You got here just like I did.
That's right. Or just cove out somewhere in a cove somewhere and just enjoy the atmosphere. Let's talk a little bit about what you're doing with the shootout, because not only are you on the board, but you also have gotten behind a couple of the events. And one of the events that, I think you guys got behind last year was the mini shootout. And that really is if you haven't been out to that, it's so amazing. I mean, talk about a family friendly event. All these kids and their dads and moms running these little boats up and down, and I say these little boats. Some of them are going 120 miles an hour. but you were there this year. You guys showed up and supported it, and I think you got some plans for next year too to do the same thing, right?
Yeah, I think the mini shootout is a little hidden gem. Van Subaru, this is the second year that we've sponsored the event. And I think that the event obviously kind of caters, like my brand, to the families. But the reality of it is just to see the kids and the families get together and go out there and be able to participate in something that maybe they can't participate because they don't own a big boat or they can't get to the shootout, but they had the chance to take an RC boat and rip it around on the lake. I just really kind of fell in love with the event. And I really think that it's an opportunity for the shootout in general to attract more people across the country to be able to participate in it. I've been doing a little bit of research, and there are quite a few clubs that are scattered around different areas of the country that do have their own lakes and river systems. And they also do various events that are similar to the shootout, but nothing is like the shootout. And I'd like to see us go out and reach out to those organizations and be able to invite some of those folks and those members to come to the Lake of the Ozarks, be able to showcase their skill sets, their boats, and really make it a family-friendly affair. And hey, I tell you, I know a couple families, that have smaller kids at the lake. And I said, hey, have you ever been out to the mini shootout? Yeah, I've been here for 30 years and I've never been out there, but I want to go someday. So I think it's important that we get the message out. We're able to go ahead and market it in a way that we can get more local families to come, as well as regional families, and really participate in an event that I think is super cool and unique.
Yeah, and I think there's some big plans this year to do some additions to it, and I know you guys are behind that. And it takes the sponsors, and so it's so awesome you guys are sponsoring that. It's a great charity, but such a super family friendly place to have a message out there, and I'm hopeful that this year. This upcoming year, that we'll even have some boats that even if the kids don't own a boat, they can come try one out. And I think we're in talks to kind of do that. I don't want to let it too much out of the bag, but I know that we're talking about having maybe some RCs available for just anybody who shows up that wants to try it out and get into the sport and kind of just get everybody excited about it. Because those kids, the smile on their face when they see that boat take off and they know they're driving it, it's just so cool.
Yeah, no, I'm absolutely committed to that. I think that was a great idea, and we want to be able to have boats available for those that don't have the ability to afford a boat or don't want to invest in a boat and want to see what it's about. Because like if you end up being kind of local or regional and you ever come down to Lake of the Ozarks, you can bring that boat down at pretty much any time of the year and run it and have a lot of fun with it, and then compete in the mini shootout. I think that'd just be fantastic.
So tell me a little bit about the lake and what you guys like to do down here. So what you guys come down for the weekend. What's your normal pattern? What are some of the things you love to do down here?
Yeah, I think for me, leaving Kansas City, because I typically work 5.5 days a week. So, almost 6 days a week. I just feel like a kid when I drive to the lake. I'm just like so excited. Like, can't wait to drive 2.5 hours to get down to the lake. And, it's really a time for me to go ahead and make some phone calls and kind of decompress a little bit. My wife, Carrie, she spends quite a bit of time down there during the season, sometimes in the off season. And then typically what it ends up being is we will, text or call or whomever, just like a lot of people, hey, let's meet for dinner. Let's meet for this, meet for that. Or maybe it's an event at the lake that we get a chance to go to, whether it's a charity event or something like that.
That's what makes it so cool when, you live in Kansas City or St. Louis, you can still take advantage of the lake. You can do a full Sunday. And that's my favorite thing was always to go back on Monday mornings, because the afternoon on Sundays at the lake, for people who don't stick around, I mean, it's one of the best times to be out on the lake. You kind of have it to yourself, and it's just a fun deal to do it. I wanted to talk a little bit with you about, all the stuff that you're doing in the charity side. And I know that, your wife, Carrie, she's involved too. And I know that she's involved in the lake, and you guys are just really becoming, someone here at the lake that people are looking to for different things, and that they can kind of, you're locals here too, right? I mean, I think you kind of feel like you're local here at the lake as well.
We're just starting to get to, kind of scratch the surface, as I said, to think about what we could do different down there. I mean, we've done some things with some municipalities, and that's been great. And we're going to continue to support that. And obviously, we're big supporters of the shootout itself, which I think is great, because that gives kind of a broad stroke amongst a lot of great charities down there. But, we definitely want to help make a difference in the community as best we can, and be good stewards and be good residents, right?
Well, that's exactly why we wanted to have you on, buddy. I love what you guys are doing. I love all the things that you help down here at the lake with, and you're just good people. And so we like to get the stories out about those people on the LOZ Podcast Network. And hey, this next couple months, they get to hear your story on KRMS too. So, I mean, it's like double trouble, right? So, but I appreciate you joining me today on the show, man. We will get you on as we get into the spring as well, when we start talking about more shootout stuff. But thanks for joining me today, everybody. Chris Wilson, Van Cadillac, Subaru, everybody. Look, go buy a car from him when you're up in Kansas City. Just help the guy out. I mean, let's go. All right, guys, listen, we will be right back after these messages. Thanks again for tuning in to the LOZ Podcast Network.